Well, hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Adult Child of Dysfunction. Today, we have with us Juanita Ellingson. She's a forgiveness and self care empowerment coach, podcast host of the Forgiveness and Grace podcast, an angel oracle card reader, and someone who truly wants you to know that you can live an incredible life by forgiving because forgiveness is about you and not for anyone else. Welcome, Juanita.
Thank you very much, Tammy. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah, I just met you recently, and I'm so blessed that I did. I just want to start out by saying that because we had an amazing conversation. And it seems like
Yes.
all the conversations since we had that conversation kept pulling me back to our conversation. Like we were talking about how humor can just bring you out of a funk and how raising your serotonin can drop your cortisol. And everything kept going back to, I'm like, oh my God, yeah, I was talking to Juanita and we laughed. I don't even know what we were laughing about, but it was just
It
a,
was awesome.
yeah, it
Yeah.
was a great conversation. And guys, that's the example of connection. Like when you connect with someone and you can have that open, honest, vulnerable, just laugh it out conversation, those are your people. So when you get someone like that in your life, hold on to them, hold on to them. And
Hmm.
if you meet someone that isn't like that, let go of them. Like everybody should be like that in your life. But today, I want to more specifically talk about forgiveness because I think it's a topic that so many of us either misunderstand or get stuck on. So I'm just going to go jump right in and ask you, why do you think people get stuck on the whole concept of forgiveness?
People get stuck on the whole concept of forgiveness because, number one, they don't understand that forgiveness is not about the other person. Forgiveness is releasing those emotions that keep you trapped and those emotions that kind of eat away at you like a cancer within your own heart. Forgiveness is about you living in peace. Um, when you're so focused that the other person owes you an apology, well, I'm not going to forgive them because they didn't ask for forgiveness from me. The thing is that there is the saying is like giving another person poison and expecting, sorry, I messed that up. That is, that, you're giving them poison and you're hoping that they will die. But in fact, actually, you're drinking the poison and it's you because they don't care. What has gone on, if they haven't apologized, it's because either they don't know what they did was wrong or they don't care that what they did was wrong. And it's you who suffers. You will die 1,000 deaths because you're holding on to it. And that's why forgiveness is so hard, is uh, because, again, you don't understand that forgiveness is for you, but it's also that I'm sorry are two of the hardest words. And we actually need to internalize and say that we're sorry and I'm letting that go. Because if you're holding on to it, you're slowly, it's your mind goes back to what happened. And each time you go back to the incident that happened, it gets worse and worse, and your mind just spirals. And so letting that go, first of all, is the feeling of just release. And you replace that shame or that guilt or that resentment or that regret, and it gets replaced with love and joy and happiness. You become lighter when you forgive. But we hold on to those things because, number one of the other big things of not understanding what forgiveness is also this control. because we feel like, okay, if we're still holding on to that, we somehow still have the control. And if we let go of that, we're giving up our control. And that's not the way that it is.
No, and also I think just especially when you're dealing with things that happened when you were younger, you tend to, it makes you more vulnerable. And that's what a lot of people think,
Absolutely.
that if they say, you know, I forgive you, it opens that up for that situation to happen again. You know, as long, and that's a big safety. I know a lot of people do not forgive just for the simple reason of safety. They feel like if I forgive this person,
Absolutely.
that's allowing, it's saying it's okay. And I like
Hmm.
to tell people forgiveness has nothing to do with making the situation okay. It's, you know, I mean, I look at it all the time. And like you said, nobody ever came back to me and said, hey, I'm sorry I hurt you. Nobody ever said,
No,
not one person in my world
no,
ever said,
no.
do you
Hmm.
forgive me? Or would you, or could you forgive me? But you're right.
Hmm.
And it's even just the guilt and the shame. I think one of the biggest things is the resentment,
Hmm.
because you're angry. You're staying angry about something that is so far in the past
Yeah.
that you can't change it. So all you can do is grow forward. And
Hmm.
it is just such a hard thing. I mean, especially like going, a lot of people that go through the steps, like go through a 12-step program and they get to that part about
Hmm.
forgiveness and they're just like done. They're like, I am done. I am never forgiving that person.
Yeah.
And I understand it, you know, like
Hmm.
logically, I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
I get it. I don't blame you. And it's like, but it's not
Hmm.
condoning. A lot of people think forgiving is condoning. It's got
Yeah.
nothing to do with
Mm-mm.
making the situation be like go away. It doesn't make the situation go
Hmm.
away. It doesn't change what happened. Like you said though, it's literally letting go of the animosity, the anger, the stuff that's
Hmm.
eating you up and can't like cancer, because we all know, and if you've listened to any of these episodes on this podcast, you know it's
Hmm.
stored in your body. You know that every time that person walks by you and you get that angry clench in your
Hmm.
gut, that it's doing damage to your body.
Absolutely. And that vulnerability, the that is the other part of the forgiveness is, and you had said so well, Tammy, was that, you're afraid that it's saying that what they did was okay. No, no, forgiveness is definitely not letting them off the hook. It's not saying that what happened was okay. And the thing is that when you're a child, if these situations happened when you were young and you're an adult now, you have the choice of whether or not that person ever gets time with you again. That is that is the strongest part. And also the when people understand about the vulnerability, that's not saying you have to let them back in your life.
Right.
Letting go of that forgiveness does not mean they get free access to you again. No, no, that is not what forgiveness is about.
Yeah, I can honestly say, I mean, especially when you're dealing with childhood things or you're dealing with
Yep.
any kind of abuse or you're dealing with like a sexual abuse kind of thing, that person might not ever be in your life. You might not even, you
Hmm.
know, so it's like you're still holding on to all this, angry at a person that you don't even know if they're still alive.
That's right. That is very true. And the person that's punishing is yourself,
Yep.
because you're not punishing them. And you holding on to it is hurting you. And so that is why it's so important to understand that forgiveness is about you saying, I'm not holding on to this anymore. I'm not letting that control my life anymore.
Okay, so we're going to get down to the nitty gritty of how do you do this? Because a lot of people are going, yeah, it sounds good. And I know it's like when your siblings, you guys are fighting and your parents are like,
Mhm.
say you're sorry. And you have to be like, I forgive you, you know, and it's like just words, it's word vomiting, because
It's
if you
words. Yeah.
don't truly believe it in your heart, you're not really forgiving. You're just going through the motions. And I think that's a good place to start, though. I mean, if you can
Yes.
say it out loud, that's sometimes the hardest thing.
Hmm.
Even if you don't truly mean it yet, say it.
Yes.
Just say it. And at least you know then that you are open to
Hmm.
the opportunity or open to the openness of being able to forgive. So
Correct. Absolutely.
what are some steps? Like let's just take for instance a parent that abuses a child.
Hmm.
And now it's
Mhm.
that they're trying to mend or they're trying to have some kind of relationship, and that person cannot forgive what that happened. What are some steps that you would suggest to maybe get that jump started?
One of the first things, um, especially about forgiveness, is that you have to be open to being able to forgive. That is the number one step is that you have to be able to at least be open to that. And sometimes that takes a lot of inner work. And, but to go beyond that, if so, in that situation where the child who would no longer be a child, if they can't face the parent who did abuse them, the very first thing that I would do, I would recommend is a letter. And so that is your written therapy. Is you want to basically, with this letter, now whether you ever send that letter or whether you ever give that letter, that is not the point. The thing is that you take out that piece of paper and you start writing, and you write everything that you want to say, how that made you feel, the questions you may have. Why did you do that to me? Everything that you want to say to that person, to that parent, write it out. And whether it is swearing, whether that is you want to say just truly awful things to them, write it on that paper. Write it, get everything out. That would be the first thing. Secondly, I would say read it and speak it and say it, but don't do this in front of a mirror. And the reason why I say is that to speak it out loud, but don't do it in the mirror. And that is because what you're doing is that you are reflecting it back to yourself
Mm-hmm.
by doing this into a mirror. No, because this is not telling you that you were bad. This is not telling you that you were responsible. So don't do it in front of a mirror, but you speak it to them. Even if you have a picture of them, say it to them, to the picture. If not, just speak it and then make sure that everything is what you want to say. So if there's something else that comes up as you're speaking this out into the open, write it down too and do it. And everything that you want to say is there. And then the next step is whether or not, if you've gotten everything out on that letter, make the decision on whether or not you want to send it or whether you want to burn it. So burning that letter, it releases it. It's gone. And as you watch it burn or tear it up into little pieces and, to release it. And as you're doing that, you keep breathing. And I mean, taking deep breaths, and you are taking it out. And that's why the speaking part is huge, because you're releasing it. If you go the route of you want to mail it, you want to give that letter to that parent, to your parent, before you do that, understand that they may not receive it in the way that you have written it, and be okay with it, because you're releasing it, you're giving it, you're taking it out of your body. How they react is not your problem. It
And
is
this,
not.
no.
Yeah.
And this can be a rather long process. This letter doesn't have to be a one and done. I
Yes.
mean, it's not.
Oh,
It's
no. No.
because like it
Right.
you can start, I tell people that start journaling about it. Start writing the letters in the journal, or
Mm-hmm.
start, because you're going to unlayer, you're going to unravel
Yeah.
question after
Yep.
question after question, and you're going to go through a process. So if you need to step back and
Absolutely.
wait, you need to step back and wait. I love the idea of any kind of releasing. I used to crumble things up, and I
Hmm.
used to have this this river beside my house that I used to go down to when my parents would fight. And there was like a drainage ditch, that would go like between two roads,
Hmm.
roads.
Yep. Yep.
And when they would fight, that was my kind of my zen time. I would take a pack of cookies and I would go sit in that drainage ditch, and I would wait until about the time the pack of cookies was gone, one of them would have been passed out. So it was kind of safe to go back. And
Right.
I used to write these letters, and I used to crumble them up. When it would rain, I would go sit in the drainage ditch, obviously off out of the water, and I would let them go into the river, and I would watch them.
Hmm.
Now, knowing if I knew what I knew now, I would probably also do some EFT tapping with that and do some
Yes.
serious, like letting it go, acknowledging it, letting
Hmm.
it go, releasing, because the writing, the speaking, all of that is, like you said, getting it out of your body. But when you get that
Hmm.
visualization of burning something, like that is permanent, destroying
Yes.
something is permanent. So that all of that negativity goes with that letter. It goes with it.
That's right. That's right.
And such an empowering. And again, it could be,
Hmm.
and if it doesn't work the first time, or you still are, just keep trying, because every
Yes.
time you're getting rid of
Hmm.
a little bit.
Hmm.
But I love the point that you made of, if you're worried about what that response to that letter is going to be, do not send it until you are ready,
That's
because
right.
you're just going to
Yeah.
throw yourself into a whole nother level of anxiety that you don't need to deal with.
Hmm.
So
That's right. That's
be,
right.
be ready for that. Make
Yeah.
sure you're ready and prepared when you do that.
Hmm.
And honestly, a lot of the people, like you said, you don't even know who they are.
Yeah.
Don't
Yeah.
even know who they are. It's crazy.
The other part that I wanted to add, as far as when I say, like, when you're writing and you're releasing, there is a lot of emotion that comes with that. And one of the things I really, really want to stress is that crying, um, even those moments of anger, I love the crumpling of the paper and letting that part go, because that's actually another physical release.
Hmm.
But when the tears come, and whether they are anger tears, whether they are deep, sad tears, hurt tears, let them come. Don't stifle them. Let all of that emotion come out of you, because crying is another release. And you do feel better after you have cried it out. Don't stop yourself. Allow it and give yourself permission. If you're not a crier, if it is not something, or you have been taught or maybe even punished for crying, start right there in that moment, is that when those tears start coming, saying, it's okay for me to cry. I give myself full permission to cry. And in that, it unlocks something.
Yep.
It does unlock something.
Yep.
So that was the other part, is because you can write all this, but if you're still holding those emotions you were not allowed to show, unlock that.
Yeah.
Unlock that. Give yourself permission, because that's what you're waiting for, is that it's okay.
Yep. Yep. Absolutely. And I know, well, I'm sure you probably have more steps to this process, don't you? I don't want to
Oh, yeah.
interrupt and jump in, and one of the other things too is that really, really helped me is in just becoming a more, I guess, having a gratitude attitude, which I know is crazy. You'll never
Yes.
be grateful for the person that hurt you, but you might be grateful for the fact that you're getting better, or you might be grateful and
Mm-hmm.
be able to look at it with compassion. Like, look at that. Like, that was
Yes.
that's the way I finally got better and finally was able to forgive my mother, is that I finally saw her for the trauma reactive person that she
Mm-hmm.
was. I finally
Mm-hmm.
saw her,
Mm-hmm.
and it was like there was no more blame anymore. It was like I finally, after years and years and years, could say, wow, she was hurting so badly. And
Yes.
that's when I
Yes.
really could forgive. When
Mm-hmm.
I could look at her from another perspective, and it's like I've always told my children, you know, healthy, happy people don't hurt people. Hurting people
That's
hurt
right.
people. And
That's right.
so in that forgiveness process, there is a reason that they, for whatever reason, did what they did. They're going through their own stuff too. And I know that is so, so,
Hmm.
so, so hard to be able to do that. And it's not the first step of the
Hmm.
process, but it,
No. No,
not
no,
even
it
close.
isn't. No, no, exactly. But when you get to be able to be at that level of being able to see beyond the hurt of what you endured, beyond the pain, when you, and it's not even an if because you do get there in the process of forgiveness, it's another level. It's like level 5, level 6, when you can step out of your own pain and you can see the mother or the father and look beyond, then you have reached an entirely different level of forgiveness
Yeah.
because they're not monsters anymore. They're hurt people. They're
I
people who endured.
absolutely. I mean, I remember that process so distinctly. And that was the turning point for me. And then I had to
Yeah.
go through the whole thing because I remember when I was so angry, thinking, wait a minute, my mother was 13 and was cutting herself. And her father sent her to boarding school for 5 years and said, don't come back until you're well. Like, so then it's like now the anger was towards him. So it was a
Him.
whole nother level.
Yes.
And I had to go through
Mm-hmm.
that process with him, like hating him
Yeah.
for because he made her that way. And because of that, I was hurt. So it was like, it just
Yeah.
kind of snowballed. But that finally became the process when I could. I don't know what my grandfather's life was like, but I can only imagine it was just like hers
Yeah.
because it's
Mm-hmm.
generational. And when I could finally unwrap that and start forgiving the whole process and
Yes.
understanding that,
Yes.
I absolutely hate that saying they did the best what they did with what they had. Like I want to punch people when they
Yeah.
say that, but it really is true.
It is true.
It's like one of those cliches that you just want to be like, bam, don't say that. But it is
Don't
true.
say that. Yeah, it is. It
But
is
yeah.
absolutely true. Yeah.
So talk about, because a lot of people too will say, oh, well, I did it and it's a one and done. Do you think forgiving someone is a one and done process?
I laugh not because it's funny, but I laugh because I've heard that so many times. Um, Forgiveness in itself is not a one and done because there's layers. There is so many layers, and you get through, the first couple of layers, and you're like, okay, I'm good. Okay, I'm good. And then, especially if it's in family, if it is a parent and a child, parent-child relationship, and if you allow that person minimally or whichever to have contact with you, they may say something or they may cut you off in a way that, oh, well, it didn't happen, or, well, that wasn't my fault, or using statements like that, all of a sudden your fists ball up and it's like that lightning bolt goes through your shoulders and everything's tense and you're like, but I did forgive her. But it's like immediately comes back. No, that means that there is another layer that you have to go back through. It's not a one and done. I really wish that I could say that forgiveness is a one and done. Okay, you've done this, you've written the letter, you have, followed these other steps. It's so, it's done. Well, then why do I still feel a knot in my stomach? Why
And
do I still feel heavy when I talk to them on the phone? Why do I want to rip their head off? Why do I want to remind them or hurt them because they've hurt me? And
right.
it's like, yeah, there's still more work to do.
And I kind of, and this is a very good example of again, I'm talking to the audience because I know, like, listen to your
Yep.
body. And kind of like I
Yep.
say, when you're questioning whether you've done enough work to actually feel worthy, just you ask yourself, do I deserve all
Mhm.
good things? And then sit with that. Or tell yourself, I deserve all good things, and sit with that. It's the same
Yes.
thing. If you say to yourself,
Yes.
oh, I've forgiven him for
Hmm.
everything, and then sit with that. Because I said
Yeah.
it's the way I kind of look at it, and a kind of analogy that always comes back to me is it's the forgiving. It's like the difference between happy and joy. Happy, you can put on a
Yes.
happy face, you can look happy, you can be happy
Yeah.
for just a moment, but joy is in here.
Is
It's in your heart,
yes.
and it's something you
Yes.
can't fake. You can't.
No.
You feel there's such a big difference between happy and joy. And I look at
Yes.
kind of like the superficial, I forgave him, versus I have zero electrical emotional charge to the situation.
It's true. It's true. Yes.
uh,
Yes. Yeah.
and it is, oh my goodness, for the people out there listening, it is
Yeah.
sometimes, you know, there was always a couple things where I always, like, even when I had forgiven my mother, there was still things that I would not, like, that action. I'm like, no, I will never forgive that. But probably the
Yeah.
biggest one, just one sentence, is pimping you out to your drug dealers, pimping your daughter out to your drug dealers. That is not a
Yeah.
forgivable act.
No. No.
But
Yeah.
was she in her right mind? Was she trying to survive herself? What, like, you got to look at that, because yes, I eventually even forgave
Hmm.
her, but did I forgive that act? No, I think, and for a long
No.
time, I think anybody ever that did that to your children deserves to rot. Period.
Yep.
But
Yep.
that's not like but
Yeah.
I mean, and it took me many, many, and for a long time, that would be the thing I would have to say to see if I got that knot in my stomach. For
Yeah.
years, I did, probably 20 years,
Yes.
I did.
Hmm.
And so it's a process. It's a
It's a
process.
huge process. It's a process. It's never a one and done. Um, because you're dealing with emotions and you are dealing with moments, and in exactly what you had just said is that you could go through all the different layers, but that statement, there'll be moments, and there are times where it's like, okay, I can't forgive that. I can forgive the person. I can release that so
Mm-hmm.
that it doesn't grind and it doesn't feel like there's a hot, blaze going on. I can release that. And I mean, again, and it's the perfect example of saying, that the forgiveness, but it's not okay.
Exactly.
Never said. And I don't know that there are things that are horrendous that it's okay that they're not forgiven. You forgive the person, but that act, that's not forgivable. You
And
know,
and honestly, and I think this is where too it gets kind of caught up, is sometimes, depending on who the person is, you don't
yes.
really have, it's not about even sometimes forgiving the person. It's
No,
about just
no.
letting go of the emotional connection and
Yes.
the pain and the resentment and the hate it caused you. Like I said, a lot of the people, you don't know them, they're not coming back to ask for forgiveness, they don't want
That's
it, they
right.
don't care.
Yeah. No.
So it's almost like a slap in your face all over again every time you think you're looking for some kind of apology. But
Yeah.
it's just letting go of the thought of it, the memories of it, the anxiety
Yes.
of it. It's I know, and there are people that will disagree with me and fight me tooth and nail, because the whole Hawaiian, and I will never say it right, Onoponopono wanna bio, whatever it's called. Um,
Yep.
you know what I'm talking about, right? The
I
Hawaiian,
do.
and they will disagree. They will say,
Yes.
you need to be able to
Yes.
look that person in the face and forgive. And I truly believe, in order to heal, like
Yeah.
you said, you have to redefine what forgiveness means.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And again, bottom line, it's about you.
Mm-hmm.
It is your healing. It is your forgiveness. And it is because that was always a driving force for me, was that they're not coming back. When I was hurt, they're not coming back to ask for my forgiveness. But that means I also don't have to carry that around with me.
Nope.
And in the past, that is another point, is that the action that happened in the past, there is not one thing you can do to go back and take it back.
Right.
So don't live there.
Right.
It's like you need to move forward. And it's all in the process of forgiveness,
Yep.
because I had a client say to me, well, I know I can't go back, but it did happen. And I said, yes. And she's like, well, how do I, they're to blame for what happened to me. And I'm like, yes. But do you deserve to keep punishing yourself? Do you deserve to keep punishing yourself? What have you done that made that was okay? And she just broke down and she goes, well, I didn't do anything. I said, yes, you didn't. So now let's move forward in letting that go. And she was able to do that once she realized that, once she saw she was punishing herself, that she was living there. The
Yeah.
other person wasn't
No,
living
not
there with her.
absolutely not.
She was living there. And then when she started to do that, she was like, oh my Lanta, I don't have to carry that anymore. And that's the point where you start, is like you realize, I don't have to carry those memories. I don't have to carry them every place that I go. I don't have to pack them in the bag. Oh, I need to remember this and remember this. No, you don't have to. And to the point of being able to, you know, when you don't have that emotion in your stomach anymore, in your heart anymore, then you have completely and truly forgiven, and they don't have an impact anymore.
Yep. And that's it's like in the case of like an assault or something like that. And that's, I say that all the time.
Mhm.
As long as you're angry about it, he's still in control. He's still winning. He's
That's
still
right.
he's still got you. He's still the
Yeah,
victor until you can say, not never blow it off or anything, but until you can not have that
hmm,
in your gut yeah, they're still winning. So take back, you
yes.
can start taking back control. And it is such a liberating feeling. Oh, wow.
Oh, it so is. It
Mm,
so is.
so
Yeah. It's instead of carrying around a bunch of luggage, now you're carrying a backpack.
and
And
yep.
yeah,
And you can eventually replace it, like you said, replace it with love, replace it with feelings of love,
absolutely.
because
Yep.
we're all energy, and whatever is going through our little minds and whatever kind of energy and stress and anxiety and fear and everything else, it's what we're putting out to everybody around us. So when you can let go
Yes.
of that, you can start to just fill your aura more with love.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it is such a light feeling. You start to attract better people in your circle. You're not afraid to go to family events, or you can choose not to feel guilty for not going.
Mm-hmm.
It's, you are taking back your choices.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the beauty of also being an adult, is that you don't have to go to those places that make you miserable. You can choose to love yourself enough, because you are enough. No matter where you are enough. You are amazing. And you don't have to go back to that spot. There's nobody holding you by the arm and making you go back.
Nope.
You get to
Yeah.
stand tall. That's right.
I love it. Absolutely love it.
Mhm.
So you are a forgiveness and self-care empowerment coach. Tell people if they want to reach out to you, how they reach you, what you do, what it looks like, what's your process. Talk to me
All
about the
right.
things. Talk to them about all the things you do.
Absolutely, absolutely. Um, if you want to reach out to me, you can go to my website, which is Paper Bell, so PAPERBELL .me slash coaching with Juanita. And you can reach out to me. I have a free empowerment call. So, if there's some things that maybe you want to talk about, see if there's ways that I can help you. You can book that free empowerment call. I have a bunch of fabulous freebies that address a lot of how to release the shame, how to release guilt, all the reasons why we want to work towards forgiveness. Sometimes there is just even that is, you know, why do I even need to do this?
Right.
You want to talk to me about that? By all means, I am there to listen. I have several programs, but I will leave you with that website because once you punch in there, it will lead you to all the different things that I have there. And right now, I would also, for anybody who is interested, Tammy, I happily would love to give a free 60-minute coaching session
Oh,
to anyone who wants to, who, you may have one or two things that you know what you need to talk to somebody about. So in that website, book your empowerment call, and then I will tell you how to book that free coaching session. Because honestly, there is nothing better than forgiveness.
amen. And all that will
Amen.
be in the show notes. So I'll make sure everybody has links so they don't have to write down and they don't have to go back and like keep, what was it she said? I don't remember that. It's a lot. It's a lot. So I will make
Absolutely.
sure they get that and everything. And that is a
Sweet.
very generous
Mhm.
gift.
Thank
And
you.
we don't
Hmm.
know what we don't know. So sometimes you can listen to
Right.
these podcasts and so many things resonate and you just don't know how to maybe implement or put it into action. Or sometimes it
Absolutely.
just takes looking at it from a different perspective. So
Hmm. Hmm.
those free coaching calls are absolutely amazing. I was just remembering as we were talking that I also did a talk for the ACOA, so NACOA, so the National Association of Children of Alcoholics. And I was just thinking about that
Yep.
because I was getting ready to speak for them next week. And my talk was on forgiveness and very, very lots of layers because it's
Yeah.
forgiveness with addiction. So it's forgiveness with a
Yes.
disease. It's kind of like a multifaceted because it's
Yes.
so complicated. So like I did so many
Mhm.
calls after that for how do you forgive when the person stops drinking and they think everything, there's like all kinds of different layers of this.
Yes.
But it is
Yes.
I I truly believe that and gratitude is at the core of everything.
Absolutely. Um, and that is the one thing. Um, Gratitude is essential because just be grateful where you are today because tomorrow's different and you are not the person you were yesterday. And being grateful, even if that is what you wake up in the morning, I am grateful for another day.
Mm-hmm.
I am grateful for a new opportunity. And those are to be just grateful. Some days you look at things and you're like, there is not one thing today, but that I'm grateful for. You're grateful because you're breathing.
I was just gonna say, if you can't
Yep.
find anything, start small. Like you got breath. You're having to think about something to be grateful. So that's one
Yeah.
one for
That
you.
is, yeah.
And it is, oh my gosh, that's a whole nother talk. We could literally have a whole nother topic
Oh, yeah.
conversation about just gratitude and how to build just the attitude of gratitude, because it is really,
Yes.
really, but again, it's one of those core concepts that will literally change your life if you wrap your head around it. If instead of
Yes.
rushing through world, being mad at everything, someone almost hits you and cuts you off in traffic, don't be angry. Just be grateful that you don't have to rush, that you have the time in your day to take
Hmm.
your time, that you didn't get in an accident. Like the little
Hmm.
things, because then when you start being grateful for the little things, then when the big things happen, you can find the good in them. If
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, if you've practiced it enough, you can find it and the good in everything.
Yes.
So,
Hmm.
oh my gosh, Juanita, this was so much fun. So I'm going to let you, thank you for coming so much, first of all. And before you go, I want you to leave the listeners with your final piece of advice or words of wisdom, even though this entire episode has been scattered with them. But wrap it up for us, girl.
Thank you so much, Tammy. It's been an honor to be here and to speak with you. For the listeners, my final words of wisdom would be gentle and be kind to yourself because this is a process. It doesn't happen in one day. Be gentle and be kind with yourself.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you.
I appreciate you too. Thank
Thank
you.
you. And for everybody else out there listening, you heard it. You are your own best friend. You are the relationship
Yes.
that you are going to have for the longest. So make it a good one. Love yourself because you deserve it. You are worthy. You are good. You are way more than enough just as you are. So, as she said, be gentle and kind with yourself. And I will see you guys back. Love y'all.